New Bern Sporting Goods, 3721 Trent Road in New Bern. They've got all of your athletic equipment needs no matter what sport you play. Plus, they do customized screen printing, embroidery, plaques, trophies. Stop by and see them again. Trent Road. Or on the web, you can visit their website, nbsports.net. New Bern Sporting Goods, where you're always in the game.
We got a phone call.
Magical Bacon in the house.
Yeah, Magical Bacon himself, New Bern Sun Journal sports writer Jordan Honeycutt. Man, happy Monday to you, sir.
Happy Monday. I was going to say, transitioning to someone else who's always in the game.
Yes. That is awesome, man. Speaking of
Free segue for you.
Listen, we can't wait to get into. What are you driving? A large truck with one of those like reverse things? The beep beep.
No, I just cranked the car on, just getting ready, coming back from vacation. So cranking the car to go to the office for the first time in about 5 days.
Okay. Now, speaking on that, we can't wait to get to your takes on the LA Lakers and LeBron James. So just hold on a second right there. You were talking about always being in the game. So you just came back from an awesome baseball weekend, right? Watching Marlins, Nationals, and saw some epic things. We were talking about this. Nationals losing streak. They got just trucked by Sam's Boston Red Sox. And they had this players-only meeting, and it's not going well because after the players-only meeting, the Marlins are just drubbing them something like 9-0, and then they rally back. It's big Trey Turner home run. So you got to see some of this. What do you think? Your thoughts on this baseball weekend in D.C., and do you think this is the weekend they'll reference back to as the weekend the Nationals started pulling back their reign on the division?
Yeah, it'd be nice to see because I think the Nationals are obviously very much talented enough to win the division, but now so are the Braves, and obviously your fighting feels are so much better.
Feels so good.
But it's going to be tough. But I think the Nationals obviously can do it. See it being there this weekend, I saw their offensive capabilities. They didn't pitch the greatest. Even Scherzer was not as sharp as he can be, but another takeaway, the Marlins are bad. Very bad.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's kind of what I want to look at. So everybody was making a big deal about this players-only meeting that Max Scherzer called, and it was conveniently at the start of the Miami Marlins series. And then, oh, look, after the Marlins, you get a nice couple of days with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, Jordan, are we reading too much into the idea that this players-only meeting actually meant something? Because players-only meetings just make me laugh in general. Because it's not like these guys aren't together every single day, right? Like they spend all day, every day in the clubhouse and on the field together. So getting together for this meeting to me is just kind of silly. And I think this more just has to do with the favorable schedule the Nats are in the middle of.
Well, hold on. I just want to say, before you say this, Jordan, I just want to say, Sam, I don't like your attitude at all. And I think we need a show-only meeting, you and me, after the show today. Right. Let's have a show-only meeting. Go ahead, Jordan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably have a players-only meeting every day. I mean, these guys are like family together because they're with each other every day. I don't put much into players-only meetings either, but it can be a good source of leadership if one guy steps up and says, guys, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this losing. What the heck are we doing? It can be good leadership, but I don't think it mattered with this weekend because seeing it firsthand, being there, we had great seats. First night was right behind the dugout. The other night was the first row of the club level. So we were
can't hide money.
We were living a little high, and it was nice for 3 days. But yeah, I mean, the Marlins are just very bad. Other than Starlin Castro and JT Realmuto, they don't have many players. So and none of their pitchers were impressive. So yeah, it's just kind of the Nats beating up on the cellar dweller.
Now,
are you getting ready to take us off of baseball?
No, go ahead. Let's stay on baseball
because
let's stay top.
Jordan is someone who I think can probably help us out with this a little bit, and you and I have talked about this briefly. But so Jordan, I also did a big baseball trip. Blah 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 blah. Long story short, I went and I spent 2 days in Boston. I got to go do Fenway Park, and then I got to see the Red Sox in action against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. So 2 Red Sox games I attended. I had never
Cool.
been to Fenway Park. It was unbelievable. It was legitimately a life-changing experience to me. It is one of the most highly recommended things I can suggest to anybody who is a sports fan. My conundrum here, and I need help from both you and Mark, and I need to figure out if this is okay for me to do this. Jordan, I don't know if you know much about my baseball fandom. I didn't necessarily grow up.
Cubs fan.
I am a Cubs fan. I didn't grow up a huge MLB fan. I played baseball. I played the Little League like everybody did. But my dad didn't necessarily have a favorite team, so I was never imprinted upon as having a favorite baseball team. Well, about 3 or 4 years ago, I adopted the Chicago Cubs. Obviously, have enjoyed tremendous success with the Chicago Cubs. But now, after having gone to Boston, having had a Fenway Frank, having sung Sweet Caroline in center field, I want to change my fandoms and change my allegiance and become a full-fledged Boston Red Sox fan. I want to know if that's okay to jump ship because I know the Sox are really good right now. I have a Red Sox t-shirt now. I was atop the Green Monster. I've fully experienced Fenway Park. It made me appreciate the game of baseball so much more. So all of that being said, am I now allowed to change my fandom, change my allegiances, and become a Red Sox fan without criticism?
Well, I mean, you're allowed because it's America, and you're free to make that
Yes,
decision anytime
that's
you
a
want.
great answer.
But you're also opening yourself up to criticism from others, which, like I said, is America. People can say what they want, but I wouldn't do it. But hey, if you want to do it, who am I to? I don't live your life, so you go ahead and do it and enjoy it. But
Are you gonna hate on me, Mark? Are you gonna hate on me?
My suggestion is: do you think there's a trip to Wrigley Field in your immediate future?
In the immediate
Because
future,
I
no.
want you to wait until you've made a trip to Wrigley and do that experience, and then go, okay, now I've done both, and now I can choose between the two.
Right.
yeah, I mean, kind of like last summer. Last summer, I drove by myself up to Camden Yards to see the Cardinals play the Orioles. And my main motivation was to see the Cardinals play, but I also had motivation of wanting to see Camden Yards and all that. And I loved it. The beautiful park, the experience is great. And same way with DC, the Nationals Park. It's very, aesthetically pleasing, and it's a good time. They do the fan experience right there, and it's I love Nationals Park, and I bought a Nats t-shirt, but that doesn't mean I'm trading in my Cardinals. I was born with it, so it's kind of different from you. My dad and my grandpa, both huge diehard Cardinals fans, all the way back to like Bob Gibson and Stan Musial and all those guys. So I mean, it's in my family, like Duke and the Redskins are. So it'd be kind of hard, even if I ever wanted to, which I don't, to bail on one of my teams because it's so deeply rooted in me. So I couldn't do that. But I mean, hey, if it makes you happy, man, live your life.
I didn't hear anything you said because I was lost in the Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline. I'm telling you,
We were
bone-chilling
playing-
experience.
We were playing Sweet Caroline underneath you talking about your grandfather and all that great tradition, and I think he was just lost in the moment. I mean, just
Sam got
lost
lost.
in Neil Diamond.
Can I just do it like, okay, I'm a Cubs fan. That's National League. Can I just have an NL team and an AL team?
Are you
like now
allowed
I've
to
adopted
have
an AL
a
team?
team of both leagues? I think that's okay too.
I think that's okay. Two different leagues. I mean, I used to like the Mariners when Griffey Jr. was there, so I mean, I pulled for them in the AL, and obviously I pulled for the Cardinals in the NL. So I don't see a problem with that. They hardly ever play each other, so.
I just don't want to be that guy because everybody knows that guy. And goodness, I feel like the most common combination is like, I'm a Yankees fan, I'm a Lakers fan, I'm a Cowboys fan, and I'm a Tar Heel fan. Like that
And
is
a Red
I
Wings
don't
fan.
I don't
Red
want to
Wings
be
fan and
that
hockey.
guy. Right. I don't want to be like, oh, who are your baseball teams? Well, I'm a Cubs fan and I'm a Red Sox fan. I feel like I can have one, but maybe not both. If I'm gonna do the AL NL thing, then I need to pick a basement dweller as my second team.
Well, like I said, it's America. You can do what you want, but you're going to get the criticism from others.
There are people, and we've said this. They're not in our inner circles, but I've shown you this. There are people that we've talked about that, well, Duke's out of it. Go Carolina.
Right.
There are people that are like
never
that.
Gonna happen.
But there are people, Jordan, there are people that are like that.
Oh yeah. Once their team gets put out, they pull for the conference.
No. So
No, I
here's,
don't understand it.
speaking of rooting interest, Your professional basketball team, the Los Angeles.
That's a good segue too.
Yes, the Los Angeles Lakers, a very storied franchise, 16 NBA championships, and arguably a who's who list of superstars, right? In fact, the logo of the league is a legendary Laker. Magic, Kareem, Kobe.
Only the Celtics can compete as far as tradition goes.
Well, the tradition, which has been struggling for the last few years. Last year it was, 35 wins last year or something that?
Yeah, I think so, something like that.
Which
was the best year we've had in a while.
And think about that. That was the best year we've had in a while. 35 wins. Well, let me just tell you, it's got a whole lot better because they've added LeBron James. I know everybody's heard about it at this point, but this is the dynamic as we've talked about it. You've not been a big LeBron James fan, a big LeBron James supporter. Now,
it's my most hated athlete on my favorite team. That's the dilemma I encounter here.
So here's this guy who's gonna. I was telling you, I think you're a 50-win team now. I think you're gonna finish fourth or so in the West, and I think you're gonna get Carmelo. I think he's going to be one of your pieces you're going to get. And that's really what I'm loving.
No. I hope he goes to Houston and plays with Chris Paul instead.
I mean, I hate to – Sam and I have a secretly because it's not – it's like, man, you're getting Lance Stevenson, Rondo. I mean –
we're excited to watch you like somehow juggle all this in your brain because I know your head has to be exploding, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep up with letting Brook Lopez go yesterday, him agreeing with the Bucks, and then letting Julius Randle go, that really ticked me off. Right now I'm okay because I know we got the young guys. I wanted to keep the young guys, The main thing was I didn't want to deal those guys for Kawhi Leonard, and I wanted to keep that young nucleus that's going to be there, hopefully for 15, 20 years. But bringing LeBron in definitely helps on the court. I'm never going to be stupid enough to deny his talent, but I'm not happy about it, obviously, from a personal standpoint. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the games, and I'm going to pull for my team, and I'm going to say, way to go, Brandon, or nice shot, Kuz, or attaboy, Lonzo, but you won't see none of that. Yeah, LeBron. There won't be none of that. When he scores, they'll just be points.
How does that happen? How are you such an avid supporter of a team, and then when you have the greatest player in the world on your team, and I understand, Jordan, I do the LeBron hate. We are, for the most part, an anti-LeBron James show here. Jordan, there's nothing about me that says if LeBron James is going out and putting up performances like he did this year in the playoffs, that you aren't going to be sitting there jumping for joy. And it's not even just so much what LeBron can do on the court by himself, but are you not at least excited? Because you have been preaching and preaching with this Lakers team that it is all about the young nucleus. You even just said it a second ago. Isn't LeBron the perfect guy to come in and maybe mentor and bring along this young nucleus? Because there has to be somewhere deep in your mind that is saying if LeBron James chose the Lakers, he at least understands that it's probably going to be a minimum of 2 seasons before they're in a position to win a championship. Now LeBron James seems like he has taken a little bit of a mentorship role by choosing the Lakers. Am I not right?
Yeah, I think so. You got 2 guys that you can go to at any time in the building with LeBron and Magic Johnson to be like, if you're a young player, to have that, and you could even reach out to Kobe if you wanted to. I'm sure Kobe would talk to the young Lakers. So, you really got 3 guys that you could reach out to that are, among the greatest players of all time. So, yeah, it's great for that standpoint. And I do think the young guys are going to get a lot better with the veterans they've got, not just LeBron, but Rondo. And Lance isn't much of a mentor, obviously, but when the playoffs come around, Lance is a guy you want on your team because he's tough. He's, he'll get in there and frustrate the other team's best player like he has LeBron in the past. And I think if those guys can all keep it together, I think once they get in the playoffs, they'll be a really tough team to beat with the leadership and with the great mix of leadership and young bucks that they'll have. But I still obviously don't think anybody's coming close to the Warriors. I don't think it matters at this point. Yeah, I'm glad we're better. I'm glad we're going to be back in the playoffs where Laker fans feel like we belong, obviously. But it's not really ready. I'm not really ready right now because we're not ready. We don't have the squad to beat the Warriors yet. Like, if Kawhi's a free agent next year and he comes over without us having to give up anything, then yeah, that's a different story, But I think right now I'm just still, after the Warriors got Boogie, I was just like, well, what's the point now? Those guys are going to win unless somebody gets hurt. So
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm happy we're going to be a better product on the court and they're going to be more fun to watch. I'm happy for that, but I'm not cheering for that dude. I'm telling you, if he hits a game-winning shot, I'll say, let's go Lakers. I love LA or something, but it ain't going to be no, I love you, LeBron. Ain't going to be none of that crap.
You're such a liar.
I'm telling you, just wait and see. Follow my Twitter.
Well, there's a couple of things. One I'm going to go back to that was part of a news story actually over the weekend. This think tank of people that got together. I mean, first off, thinking about you and then thinking about the young coach there, Luke Walton in L.A., as I was seeing these. Okay, so first LeBron James comes in, and we know what sort of challenge it is to coach him. And you and I have used the word coach killer in LeBron James' name before. But then, and thinking about you, and it was Lance Stevenson, Rondo, and I was like, I don't know, wow. I mean, to talk about the coaching job that, that job is completely changed for him. I mean, and listen, it happens anytime you bring in four players or five players the way the Lakers have done over the last few days. But listen, let's be honest. These it's not just four different players. These are four very unique players. And I got to wonder if, Luke Walton just doesn't look in the mirror and go, what have I gotten myself into here? Like, this he's going to really kind of prove his worth, or he's going to be the first casualty when something goes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, pressure's on Luke now for sure. I mean, he knows. I think this is a small part. I think the main reason LeBron made the decision he made was because of his family and because he wants to be in a bigger entertainment he wants to be in LA. He wants to be in the biggest market that he can be, without going to New York City, because he knows he can't save the Knicks. But I think part of what he looked at is, how do I beat the Warriors? Well, let's go play for the guy that knows him better than anybody. Let's see what Luke Walton can do against Steve Kerr if Luke Walton has close to Steve Kerr's talent. You know what I'm saying? If we got a good enough team to beat them, let's see how he can do against them, even though, Luke's not going to know this team because Boogie and, they've grown and everything like that. But Luke kind of knows what they do, and he's kind of trying to bring that to LA. So I think that's part of what LeBron looked at. Like, hey, this is the closest I can come to playing for the Warriors and trying to beat them. So why not, I think LeBron has a lot of respect for Luke Walton. I think he really likes him, and obviously vice versa. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because you got quite an unstable locker room to keep straight with Rondo and Lance and Lonzo. And I mean, it's going to be a challenge, no doubt about it.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you about a full implosion?
I'd
Because
say like
there's
a
some
3.
head cases in there, Jordan.
Yeah, there are. I mean, but I think obviously if one of them if Lance does something stupid or whatever, he's expendable enough. You can just, push him out. And Rondo's old, and I don't think, I think he's kind of settled down a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, I'd say a 3 because I don't think Magic and Luke Walton are going to let that happen. I don't think LeBron's going to let that happen. But yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I'm more or less just worried about something happening where they panic and feel like they have to get rid of the young guys. I think that is what would implode us for the future is, trying to win now and not and saying the heck with the future. Now, that's what I don't want to happen.
What if I told you that I would not be shocked if the LA Lakers missed the playoffs next year? Missed the playoffs. LeBron James not even in the playoffs. I think the Western Conference is that good. I saw the Las Vegas Superbook put them out as the second best chance to win the NBA playoffs next year, right after LeBron James decided. And I looked at and I said, why? In what world is this team in any position to even compete for a championship right now? Sure, you added LeBron James, but then you've got, like you've been talking about, Jordan, a bunch of young pieces. And sure, Kyle Kuzma's pretty good. Lonzo Ball, I like him a lot. But you've also got a knuckleheaded cast of one-year contracts and guys like JaVale McGee. But if you're telling me that if you slap LeBron James onto a team with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and JaVale McGee and Lance Stevenson and sprinkle in a couple of good, really young and raw players still, that to me doesn't scream anything more than like 7th or 8th place in the Western Conference.
I think we'll be top 4. And the reason is because I think the young guys, even the young guys they got in this draft, I think they're really going to take the pressure off LeBron. And I think that we're going to be running a lot. It's going to be back like the old days. I think they're going to run teams a lot, and a lot of other teams don't have the athleticism to match up. But, OKC will give us trouble. Houston will give us trouble. Obviously the Warriors, but outside of those 3, I don't really think, Utah's going to be good. Portland's going to be good. But I think we're better than those 2 teams. It's going to be tough. Like you said, the West is going to be tough. I think San Antonio takes some steps back, especially if Kawhi stays true to his word and says he's going to sit out the season unless he's somewhere else. I think it sets up for us to finish top 4, but we'll obviously have to wait and see what kind of chemistry they got when it starts for real, and see how the guys are going to gel together. But I'm believing in them right now.
Well, we got to go, but the next thing I was going to ask was, do you think LeBron James knew when he made the trade at the trade deadline he was going to be an LA Laker, and so he faked a relationship with Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. the whole time that he was a Cleveland Cavalier because he didn't want him in LA when he got there? Yes or no?
No, I'm not buying into all that conspiracy stuff. I think that was just a coincidence. But if he did, maybe it's smart on his part. I like those 2 guys. When they were in LA, they produced. Jordan Clarkson was breaking 15 points a game off the bench when he was in LA, and Larry Nance would make plays. He's not a great player, obviously, but I just think they didn't fit in Cleveland for whatever reason. And, I don't know. Same with Rodney Hood. Rodney Hood got better there at the end of the playoffs, but he was really struggling, and he's proven that he can score and play in this league. So I don't know, man. I don't think he did that, but it wouldn't surprise me because he's that diabolical and that, it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think he did.
All right. For people listening, you can pick up a copy of the Sun Journal. You can go to newbernsj.com/sports. You can follow Jordan on Twitter at @JHoneycutt_NBSJ, and we try to have him on here at least once a week, man. Good to talk to you, and we will talk to you next week, sir.
Good talking to you guys. Keep that magic going.
Absolutely. We'll take a break and come back.